Hello and welcome back to another mini masterclass. If you're new here, every Tuesday I create a mini masterclass according to topics like astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. I journal every day, and so I will receive a download from my guides letting me know what topics they would like me to uncover. And being that we just experienced a partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, my guides took me down the rabbit hole of really looking at my natal chart again. And so this mini masterclass is quite personal to me because it's about a deep, transformative energy that I have been going through. If you're new here, my name is Celia, and I am very passionate about guiding women through their self-discovery journey. I've written a book, and that book is She's Magic. And in this book, I give you plenty of worksheets to work through the process. But this book was downloaded through my spiritual awakening, and it was how we are supposed to live moving on from 2020 events. I also was guided to create this journal. And in this journal, I talk about some of the techniques I use along with astrology. And there's 4 secret incantations to empower you so that you can own your self-worth and get back into your empowerment era. So during this masterclass, what I hope to do is to inspire you to take a look at your natal chart and understand it on a more deeper level than just transits, houses, and looking at the basics like your horoscope, your sun, moon, and rising. So let's get started with this placement that is deeply personal to me that I want to share with you, and then you can look at your placements on your chart. So if you want, go ahead and pause this video and get a copy of your natal chart over at astro.com if you don't have it. And all you need to do is put in your time of birth, your date of birth, and where you were born, and you will get a chart. Now, one thing is, you want to create a chart that is whole houses, because depending on where you were born, your houses could be stretched out really wide. Like in my chart, my first house was all the way into Pisces and Aries. So you're looking for a way to understand your chart more easily. I recommend graphing your chart under whole houses. So that being said, my chart happens to have Chiron and Saturn in the second house. And the second house is ruled, for me, in my chart, is ruled by Pisces. And the reason why I'm creating this mini masterclass is because my guides gave me this aha moment during this partial lunar eclipse in Pisces that we just experienced. And what they showed me is that all of the things that I've been going through for the last, I want to say, 5 years was part of what I needed to learn so that I could call in a more abundant life. So Chiron, if you don't know, is your wounded warrior. And this is a wound that you bring in to this lifetime when you were born. And so that's why it's important to look and see where your Chiron is. My Chiron happens to be in the house of self-worth and material goods, as well as how you make your money and your finances. And what I experienced in 2018 was that it was time for me to walk away from my very lucrative interior design business and go on this spiritual growth journey. I didn't understand at the moment. I thought I was supposed to just hop right into guiding and coaching women, but what my guides, didn't tell me at the time was that there was still some things that I needed to learn. And those things that I needed to learn was to heal my limiting beliefs around finances and my limiting beliefs around self-worth. So I've been on this journey, and what I've learned through it is what I'm sharing with you while you are on your self-growth journey. So also I want you to keep in mind with Chiron. Chiron makes a return in your natal chart. So what a return is, wherever you have Chiron in your chart, it will return back to that position at a certain time. And for Chiron, it's every 50 years. So if you're in your 40s and your 30s watching this, or you might be in your 50s and you're feeling some resistance in your life, it's because you're going through a Chiron return. Now, what is a Chiron return about? Well, it is your wound. So this is a wound that you were born with, and you need to heal that wound in this lifetime. And when you're unaware of this wound, you will feel like life is punishing you. But really, it is for you to master that pain and to find your worth. So for me, because I have Chiron in my second house, my financial house, and it's the house of my self-worth. And I believe that there are a lot of women that have this lesson, is that you need to find your value other than from how much money you have. So we are so indoctrinated to believe that our worth comes from how much money we have in our bank account. And for women, we've also have always been underpaid, right? And if we've been programmed to believe that our value is measured up to how much we have in our bank account, we are always feeling unworthy because our bank account is never measuring up to what a man can make. So this is not about man bashing, but this is about enlightening you with the patriarchal hierarchy systems that have been put into place. And so if you're experiencing resistance and you are going through your Chiron return, it's because you're not aware of it, and you have been living your life feeling like, according to your house and your placement, that the world has been out to get you, and not understanding that this was something you were supposed to heal on your own because it's part of your transformation. And so what my guides wanted me to learn during this time was that I needed to know that I had value. So one of the things that my guides told me in the beginning of my spiritual awakening on my journey was, you are your value. Money is only a tool for exchange of value, but you are your value. And that just downloaded. I got this download. It just came from nowhere. And so I've been going through this process of learning about manifesting and understanding why I had this block around my worth and money. And what I wasn't really aware about manifesting, and it came on my radar through the whole time, the time of me walking away from my lucrative interior design business, to my spiritual awakening, to learning about manifestation. The reason is because it was part of my self-growth journey, but I was not aware of it. So I leaped into my journey of coaching women, and there was a lot of resistance around the coaching process. And the reason is because I was not ready. And so when you're going through a Chiron return, what you learn and what you heal is what you're here to share with others and help them through their process, which I was not aware of that at the time because astrology was not even on my radar, nor was I thinking about a spiritual path. So one of the things is, because I've always been an entrepreneur, and we are moving into the Aquarian age, which is about your own individual creativity and thinking outside the box. And we are going to have a birth of a lot of entrepreneurs. And women are coming to the forefront because there's this mass awakening of the divine feminine, because we have so much imbalance in the world with the masculine energy, because masculine was all about power. And women need to find their self-worth so that they can create an economy that will be more balanced. Because when women get money in their hands, they're not selfish and they want to do good in the world. So there's going to be a birth of a lot of heart-centered businesses. So that's one of the paths that I am prepared for as part of my purpose, because I've always created my own economy through the businesses that I've created. But I also needed to learn the key factor of what made me stand out from anybody else who is coaching women entrepreneurs. And for me, it is this Chiron in the second house, because I had a deep wound around finances and believing that my self-worth was tied into how much money I had. So when I had my lucrative business, it's as long as I could buy things for my family and make them aware of how much I love them through gift giving, then I felt good. But the reality is, it's not about what you give to your family in the material world, it's how much love you give to them. And so the rug needed to be pulled from underneath me so I could go on this journey to revisit my self-worth and my values, and to understand that I am my value. And that hit home even harder for me because I also have Saturn in my second house. So not only was I going through my Chiron return about my wound, this wound that needed to be healed, I was also going through my Saturn return. But Saturn, if you don't know, Saturn is the father energy, but it's the ruler of the 10th house. And it is about creating a plan. Saturn's energy is very career oriented. And being that I have Saturn in the second house of my finances, along with my Chiron in Pisces, that's why I'm supposed to heal this so I can help other women with their journey, um, their entrepreneurial journey, because that's what I've always done. And Saturn teaches you how to have perseverance and to have discipline. So needless to say, these last 5 to 6 years have been very extremely, I don't even want to say very, extremely challenging for me into understanding my worth, because I was so used to having money in my bank account. And when I closed the door of my business, I thought, oh, I'm just going to hop right into doing something different because that's my Aquarius rising. I'm just going to hop into something different and I'm going to create my finances and it's going to come easy. Wrong. The resistance came because I needed to know how it felt not to have that income coming in, because I had this inner dialogue that I needed to be validated by how much money I could make. And I was not being acknowledged for it. And it was causing this deeper wound. So one of the things I want you to know is that you will attract people into your life that will reflect that back to you to trigger those things so you can understand why you have that wound. So during this time of dealing with my Chiron and my Chiron placement and my Saturn placement, I have just been on this roller coaster. But needless to say, I am on the opposite end, and it revealed itself with this partial lunar eclipse in Pisces for me, because that's where my Pisces placement is. So you also want to look at your Saturn placement, your Chiron placement, your Pisces placement. your Virgo placement. And the reason why you want to know where your Virgo placement is because it's your opposition. So for me, I have second house Pisces. So my opposition is eighth house Virgo. And eighth house is all about other people's money and how you manage other people's money, how you manage your taxes, how you manage credit cards, how you value yourself with other people's money. And so in my mindset, because I had this core wound around my finances, I always believed that my husband's finances were separate than mine. And I was always trying to figure out how I could stand on my own and not looking at it like a joint finances. I never looked at it that way. So I was still coming from a place of being a single parent in this struggle mindset, even though I didn't have to be in that mindset. So that was my opposition. And then also, it was my opposition because of when you're a creative, a visionary, you have multiple ideas and you can jump into the creative idea, but all of the other details you forget about. And so a lot of entrepreneurs really struggle when it comes to their finances and their taxes and their credit card debt. And that's why a lot of businesses don't make it. And so I've been going through this journey because there's some fine tuning that I needed to do in order to be able to be present in this moment and share my gifts and what I know. So with me going through all of this, one from the conversation I have just had with you, the takeaways I want you to get is that you go through a Chiron return every 50 years, and you go through a Saturn return every 28 to 30 years. And wherever you have those placements is where you're going to have the most resistance because it is your biggest healing that you have to do. And the reason why, if you're here and you follow me on TikTok, you've watched some of my videos, and I was really just fired up about this eclipse moon. And the reason is because it falls in Pisces. Now, Pisces is your imaginative world. It is the unseen world. And everyone seems to think that the material world is more real than the imaginary world. But reality is that the spiritual world is far more real than the physical world. And before I get any pushback on that, let me just explain. Everything comes in thought, in the mind, and it creates in form in the physical. So all of the ideas come from the unseen world. So when you are manifesting this bigger life and you are wanting to have a different experience, you have to go through the self-growth journey in order to change internally so you can experience that in the physical. And most of the time we think that, oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to go make more money and I'm going to go create that business and I'm going to go buy that car or I'm going to go buy that house or I'm going to go buy, this bag or shoes or whatever you're telling yourself. And then I'm going to feel successful. But the reality is that you have to know your worth before all of that. And that was one of the things that was a hard lesson for me in my interior design business, because when you know your value, you have healthy boundaries. And if you don't know your value, when you get into business, the people that you do business with are going to test your boundaries all of the time. Now, this isn't because they are aware of what they're doing. It is part of the cycle to get you to grow and to create those boundaries. So I went through that. That was my first revelation when I was still in business. I realized I did not have any healthy boundaries, and I worked through all of that. That's why I say when you decide to become an entrepreneur and you decide to get in business for yourself, it's an extension of you, and it is going to stretch you in ways that will make you want to give up. And so the first thing that my guides wanted me to uncover is my value, my self-worth. And even when I started going into the manifestation process, in manifesting, what I learned is the reason why you can't manifest is if you don't have self-worth. And the self-worth comes in knowing that you can create it, because again, everything happens in divine timing. And so with that Saturn in my second house was like, you're going to be disciplined, you're going to keep moving, even if it looks like you're not getting a return on your investment. Keep going. And I can tell you these last 6 years have been trying for me, but I have persevered and I'm still showing up here. But it's like, if you've ever saw the cartoon where somebody's digging and they stop right when it's on the other side and they turn back around and they don't get to the other side where the other person is digging, he makes it to the other side. And that's what Saturn is. Saturn is like, keep going, even if it doesn't look like it's working out, even if it looks like it isn't manifesting. Know and have faith and know in your value, trust your vision, trust you're supported, keep going. But if you're not seeing a return, you can be like, okay, what is this all for? Because we have been indoctrinated to believe that it is the payoff that shows us the value instead of it is the growth. The person we become in the process is the value. So if you're an entrepreneur and you are in the middle of this launching your business or this idea, the reason why I wanted to create this mini masterclass and to explain these placements so you can look in your chart is because I don't want you to give up. And I want you to understand that it is on the other side. And it is through the faith and the belief that you are worth it and that everything that is meant for you will never pass you by. And so these last 6 years, I have not given up. I have tweaked, I have learned, I have learned so many tools, learned so much about myself. My creativity is expansive. My knowledge about astrology and spirituality and manifestation has expanded. And because I've been on this journey, I'm ready to lead now. I'm ready to share my expertise. Do I have it all figured out? Absolutely not, because we're all on a journey. So there's going to be new hurdles that I'm going to have to overcome. But what I can do is I can share with you right now and then how you can move to the next step. So what I want you to take away from this video is after you understand your placement, you're going to want to journal. If you don't want to buy my journal, that is fine. I'm not here. It's more about your self-discovery journey than my journal. But if you want something that's going to inspire you and bring a little enchantment into your life, I recommend that you get a copy. But it is through journaling and getting to know yourself and understanding your chart that you begin to understand what hurdles you're going through because you are growing, you are manifesting. I also talk about the moon and working with the moon phases because that is our feminine energy. We are connected to the essence of the moon. So if you're wanting to harness the moon's energy, you can get a copy of Harnessing the Power of the Moon at my website. I'll leave the link in the bio. It's free. You're going to sign up for my newsletter. I promise I'm not going to spam you. I just send out notices that are important, or if I have a blog, which I do a blog every Tuesday because every Tuesday I do these master classes. So I would send that out to you so you don't miss this master class. That's what the newsletter will be about. And then if I have some kind of event or something that's happening, I'll keep you informed. With that being said, once you start journaling and you understand your chart and you understand that you are going through a self-growth journey, my book that I wrote does give you worksheets. Okay, I know this sounds like a lot of plugging, but I created all of these materials because it helped me in my process. And in the book, there are worksheets to help you to get to know and understand yourself better. And this is important to me because I believe that when women take their power back, that we make change in the world, that we create harmony because it's so out of balance right now. So do those things that I just mentioned, journal, learn your chart, understand those placements, see if you have a return happening. Because when you understand that, it's like you can just relax. Your shoulder, the weight is gone because you understand that you aren't doing this alone. And that is all I have for you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you got something from this. And also, leave me a comment or a question so I can engage with you. And I'll see you next time.